everyone, it's James, and welcome to Balloon Fiesta in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now, the balloons have already taken off. Maybe you can see a couple of them in the sky. There's one right there. But anyway, they've already taken off, but once they take off, get a little downtime until some other events take place. And so this might seem like a strange place to try to pull off a mod, but I'm going to walk over here. There you go, balloons. This might seem like a strange place to try to pull off a mod, but I'm going to do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to replace our SeeLevel monitor panel. Why am I replacing it? Is there anything wrong with it? No, absolutely not. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a big fan of the SeeLevel tank monitor system. We've had it in every RV. I have replaced our panels with SeeLevel every RV I've ever had. But now they have Bluetooth enabled monitor panels. And that Bluetooth, it's going to be a quick replacement. And what that Bluetooth does is it solves a couple problems that we have with tank monitors. So the first problem we're going to solve is one that Steph is particularly looking forward to, and that's the driving down the road, want to know the tank levels problem. Maybe you're driving down the road and you see there's a truck stop or a rest stop coming up, and they've got a dump station. How full are we? Do I need to dump right now? As it is right now, with this panel, this involves Steph getting up and going to check the panel while we're driving.
Sure, that's not annoying at all.
With the Bluetooth enabled panel, there'll be an app on the phone. We can just look at the phone, not me, but Steph, while I'm driving, look at the phone and then determine what the tank levels are, and we can make that decision with nobody having to get up or even unbuckle. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is the filling the tanks by yourself problem. And that's basically, when I'm filling the tanks, the tank fill is over there on that back corner of the RV. The monitor panel is up here. And so when I'm filling, I kind of have to run back and forth to kind of see what the tank level is. And if you want to nail it at 100%, which is always a fun game, that's kind of hard to do. But again, now with the app, I should be able to just stand back there at the tank fill it, and when it gets to 100%, nail it right there. So that's problem number two. Okay, first, thank you to SeeLevel for making this video possible. They sent us this panel. This is the BTP7. It should be available for sale now, so you can get one. It will monitor up to 7 tanks. If your RV has more than 7 tanks, well, I'm envious, I guess. So that's the first thing we're going to need is a panel, BTP7. Now, they also sell and can provide a backer plate. Like if the opening for your SeeLevel panel is different from when I originally installed our SeeLevel here, I 3D printed a trim ring to make that fill up nicely. But they have this backer plate, and you can cut this down to size to fit. And this fits the BTP7, just like so, right? Okay, so we're gonna need that. Well, I don't need the trim ring, but it's available for you. We're gonna need that. It also comes with a wiring harness. So I need only 2 tools for this mod. And one of them is a wire stripper because I got to make some connections on this wiring harness. The other is a screwdriver because I have to unscrew the panel. But if I'm remembering my previous install correctly, I think that's all I need, which is why I can do it here in a parking lot. So we're going to get going. Now, you will need, obviously, a phone. They have an app for Android and iOS. You'll need that. We'll set that up at the end of all this. Okay, now there are some differences between the BTP7, which can monitor 7 tanks, and ours, which can monitor 4. So they can both monitor battery, fresh, gray, black. That's 90% of most everybody out there. Ours had a separate galley tank. This one has 2 gray tanks, so we'll be using an alternate function to get to that second gray tank. This one can monitor propane. We don't have propane. I just won't bother hooking that up. And then this one has a pump switch. Now, our current one does not have a pump switch, but this is giving me ideas. So I'm not going to do it now because that may be more involved, but potential future mod to install another pump switch here. The more places you can turn on and off the pump, the better, I think. Anyway, those are the functions on the panel, and it all starts with me pulling this old one out. So here we go. 1. And here we go. All right, so I've got a fuse, and I did remember correctly. So I installed this with Wago connectors. This means I can just unsnap these connectors and snap the new wires in, and it should work. Okay, so this is the wiring harness for the new BTP7 panel. It has 6 wires. The wiring harness on our current panel, a 4-tank panel, has only 3. But not to worry, they've kept the colors the same. So all I have to do is wherever I was connected to the blue wire here, connect to the blue wire here. Red wire, black, etc. These other 3, I'm just going to leave undisturbed for possible future modifications, additions, whatever. You never know, they could come in handy. I'm just going to leave them, not do anything with them, and just strip these 3 wires. Okay, now that I've got these wires stripped, I just need to find where I have the red one from the old harness, and in that case, it goes to this fuse, and they recommend a 7.5 amp fuse, but if you're just replacing the panel, you've already installed that. I've got a little piece of electrical tape on here just to sort of hold them together. I'm going to take that off. So, red wire from the old harness is in this Wago connector here. This is why I love the Wago connectors. Red wire from the new harness goes right back in there. Pop it in, clamp it down, 1/3 of the way there. Blue wire from the old harness comes in right here to this white wire that I ran. Let's take that one out. New harness, blue wire. And finally, the black wire from the old harness comes into here. Take that one out. My old panel is now free. And the black wire from the new harness goes into this same spot. Boom. That should be all I need to do for the wiring. And when I plug this in, you're going to see it here first. She should light up. Here we go. Oh, we have life. 12.5 volts. All right, let me get this tidied up, and there's a little bit more to do. My gears are turning on that pump switch. Don't be surprised if you see a video on that soon. Now, the vast majority of SeeLevel installs are going to be done at that point. If you've got a standard fresh, gray, and black tank, that is the most common setup, and this is programmed for that out of the box. So you can see my fresh tank is already working. I got 46% fresh. But now, my old panel could monitor 4 tanks, and this one can monitor 7. But I had 2 gray tanks programmed into this panel. So I need to do a little programming to dump into a 4-tank compatibility mode. And so I'll show you that now. It's not too terribly hard. You're going to hold down the Alt and Bat keys to get into a menu system. And we're going to scroll up and down. I can use fresh and black to scroll, and I'm scrolling around. And I want to stop on the one that's C4P. That's compatibility mode for a 4-tank setup. And so, yes, that's what I want to go. Let's go into that menu by pressing Alt. And now, right now, that's off. But I want it on. So we do that. And then we hit the bat button, we hit the bat button to store it. Store 12.4. Okay, so now do I have fresh? 46%. Do I have gray? 29%. Do I have the second gray? And when I get to the second gray, you have to do that with Alt. Gray. Gray 2 still says disconnected. There's one more programming step I have to do to basically program the senders on the second gray tank. So what we do now, let's stop that. We're going to hold down Alt and Gray. Gray 2, senders. Yes, I want to program senders. 0 senders. How about 1 sender? Okay, fantastic. Hit the bat button, it's stored. So now, gray tank, reading 29%, and the alternate gray tank is reading 37%. And if you remember from my original install a few years ago, there's actually 2 different tanks and one's further back, and we are sloped forward, so those results I would expect to show different levels in the tanks. Now, for the fun part, and that's we get to set up the app. Now, I've already downloaded the app. Download it from your respective app stores. You can see here it's SeeLevel RV 2.0. So that is the app. Let's launch into that app. The very first thing we need to do, obviously, is find and pair with the tanks. So we'll hit Find My Tanks. What type of device you have? Well, we have the BTP7. Enable search mode. Press the bat button on the BTP7 one time. Here we go. Press the bat button. Okay. Scanning. All right, here we go. Correct. It found the tank, or the tank monitor. Name change required. A name change is required for this device. Press OK and enter a new name. I'm going to call it number 1. Number 1. Because that is the name of our RV. Confirm. That's it. Poof! And right away. Check it out. We've got fresh, gray, and black. Well, you can see that on the screen. Fresh, gray, and black. Those are the same levels I was just getting on the panel, so I think we are dead on. So now I will just click this Save Device right here. And so now it's like I don't have to search for it next time, right? By default. Okay, great. Now, there are other things I can do in the app, like I could set alarms. So let's try that. Let's add an alarm. Let's say I want to know when the gray tank or the fresh tank is under 15%, say. So I will just go select tank, fresh, and I will set a low level alarm. Enter alarm activation. We'll say 15%. Confirm. So now, in theory, I will get a notification on my phone when the tank is below 15%. Cool. Now there are other alarms and stuff that I can set in the app. I could set like high for gray or gray 2 or something like that. I could set up any of those, but I think that's pretty much all I need to do now. I need to make sure I have notifications enabled for this app on my phone so that I'll actually get them. And you don't even have to have the app open for those to work. So let me clean up and we'll wrap up. Hey, check it out. I've already got my first alarm notification. I set that, I wouldn't normally, I set it to alarm at 50%. I wouldn't normally do that. I just wanted to see if the alarms work, and they do. I've already got my first alarm, and you touch the alarm, it brings you right into your tank settings, and there you go. It says, oh, look, you have an alarm. Okay, cool. You can also rename your tanks and do other stuff like that. You can turn the alarms off if you know. You can just turn the alarms off. It's all right here in the app. Pretty simple, pretty easy to do. And this solves those 2 problems I talked about at the very beginning of the video. I know. I need to shut the alarms off right now. It solves those 2 problems. One, like you're driving down the road and you want to check your tank levels, or have your co-pilot, let's be safe about that, check your tank levels. Solves that. And also, when I'm filling the tanks now, I won't have to be running back and forth into the door. It was a pretty easy install. It took 2 tools and a piece of tape, and it was nothing more than what you saw here. Now, if you would like your own Bluetooth enabled SeeLevel monitor panel, you can get those at rvgauge.com. They should be available by the time you see this, and I'm pretty confident if you've already got a SeeLevel, that swap is something you can handle. So there will be a post over on the FitRV website. I'll put the link in the YouTube description down below. That'll have some more details and some of the links in case you didn't remember while I went through rvgauge.com. Whatever, it'll all be there. So come check that out if you want to. But that's gonna do it. We're back out to the balloon fiesta. We'll catch you later. Bye.